perp, walk, perp, walk, perp, walk, perp, walk. I want a fucking perp walk. I'm
Let me
Spike.
have some
Spike
dignity, please.
Spike is not afraid to date our episode to the exact time.
I didn't
No,
know it was
I'm
illegal
not.
to make a maid cafe dress. I'm sorry.
Oh shit. Who the fuck is this? Sorry, sorry, sorry,
That's
sorry, sir.
Talk about
that's a
crimes.
I am going to mute myself. Sorry.
Podcast crimes.
I don't know what's
Podcast
happening.
crimes.
How are you, Amanda?
Uh, I'm good. I'm gonna try to stealth sew while we do this episode. I'm making a
Okay.
dress and I have limited time before I gotta get back to work. So I'm gonna. How are you, Cal?
I am tired but good. I just been listening to the podcast Manga Splaining. Um
Ugh.
cuz I want to know about mangas.
Sorry about that.
Are you sorry?
It was a fucking
No,
spam call of all things, if you can believe it. Ugh. Someone trying to
you're
get me
not sorry.
surfing. Ugh.
I don't
Anyway.
believe you.
Sorry, but you folks are saying.
We were introducing
Oh, I was
ourselves. We were just
Oh.
waiting for you to
yeah.
come back.
I'm back. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. What a nice week. What a week, huh? What a good week. This is a
Um
good week.
Spike, I'm so tired and I haven't paid attention. I learned about it just now because I have not watched any news. I've been in a hole working and crying.
Oh, and everybody in the chat's going lackadaisy. Yeah, that's kind of been the state I've been in for most of the latter half of this week. For folks who aren't aware, Iron Circus has been working diligently for nearly but not quite 3 years on our very first animation project, Lackadaisy, which is a kind of a distillation, hardy har har har, of a webcomic by Tracy Butler, Eisner nominated. It's got a huge fan base. It's been running for a decade plus. And when I was in California, here's the old story. I have to tell it because it's such a good fucking story. I went to California for a very small convention called CALA, CALA, Comic Arts LA. And I left the house thinking the convention was going to be awful because I just heard from UPS that they hadn't gotten my boxes there in time, despite the fact I gave them ample time to do so. And I had to pack a bunch of stuff into my rolling luggage to have anything at the table. And I was sitting in my office actually contemplating, fuck it, I'm not even going. Like, this was supposed to be a low stress con, and now it's going to be a shitty, stressful con where I'm sitting behind a blank table like an idiot. But I decided, no, you know what? Fuck it. I paid for the plane tickets. I'm going. At the very worst case scenario, I can go to some cool graveyards because Hollywood has some cool graveyards. But when I went to Kala, multiple things happened. Number one, for folks who didn't realize it, that is where I met H Bomber Guy in person for the very first time. I had no fucking clue he was going to be there. Like, I knew he liked comics, but I didn't think he liked Fly to fucking California comics. So that was pretty cool. And keep in mind, this convention, it's itty bitsy teeny weeny. It takes up a basketball court and then a little bit more. It's so small. And then when I was behind the table, unpacking my stuff, trying to get stuff on the table, it was such a small con. I had no help. I just went by myself because I figured, it's going to be a little baby con. I won't need help. While I was unpacking stuff behind the table, this person came up to me and I had no idea who they were. And it was Fable. And Fable was like, "Are you Spike? Hi. Yeah. Hey. So I am working with Tracy Butler on trying to get an animated version of Lackadaisy going. Was that something you like give a shit about?" And I basically just leapt on them like an animal out of the forest. It was like, yes, yes, oh my fucking god, yes, let's do this, absolutely. And maybe 3 seconds after Fable was out of earshot, I sent my husband like a grip of intensely incoherent texts. And keep in mind, he was in Chicago and I was in California. So the time zone difference meant I was probably texting him around maybe 10 or 11 at night. And the text had no punctuation, no capitalization, absolute grammar disasters. And they were just like, cancel everything, push everything back. That thing we're going to do, push it back. And then to put that other thing we're going to do, we're not going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to make a cartoon. We're making a cartoon now. We're going to make a cartoon. Do you remember Lackadaisy? Remember that comic? We're making a cartoon. And he's just like, yes, baby. And fast forward 3 years, it dropped this Wednesday after just intense pandemic creation. It was made entirely through a Discord channel and a Slack channel. It was a virtual studio project completely helmed by Fable Siegel and Tracy Butler, and it dropped Wednesday and it got 1 million views in like 24 hours and 15 minutes, and it's been trending on YouTube. It was number 4. It peaked at like number 4 trending on YouTube. It's in What's Happening on Twitter, and we're getting a lot of really great responses. Lily Wachowski tweeted about it. You know, a whole bunch of Tyson Hess tweeted about it. A whole bunch of people tweeted about it. It's going fucking bonkers, and it's been a hell of a thing, and it hasn't even been out 48 hours. So that's what like most of my week has been taken up with. Like we got talked about in Animation Magazine and Popverse and all these other places, and it's just been really, our inboxes are exciting. You know, everything is exciting now. Everything is weird and exciting and unexpected. So I had hopes for Lackadaisy. I didn't really understand what it meant to have something pop off, and now I kind of think I do, and it's been great. So that's what my week has been.
I'm fucking tired.
I'm tired too. I'm tired too. I'm tired too. Trust me. Oh God, it's so bizarre. It's a weird week.
I'm not tired for exciting reasons. I'm fucking drowning.
Oh God, I know that feeling. I was just tweeting today. You know what? Maybe we all need a fucking break, because I was tweeting earlier this week.
Good fucking luck.
Yeah, I know, the culmination of like Lackadaisy drop. I can't take a break now.
You need money to take breaks.
I know, right? Like, I can't take a break now. I can't. Not with Lackadaisy, like barely, you know, out of the womb and still glistening on the table. We need to be around for it.
But I hate this metaphor.
I don't like it. And I think you absolutely can let it be for a little bit. I think you just no. That I think that's a you thing.
It's literally not possible.
That's a you thing.
We have to pay attention to it right now, and we have to keep the hype train going. And like the response to it has been so over the top. Jesse Sharon is saying, "Wachowski, no freaking way." Here's the thing about Lily: huge nerd.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, follows a lot of comics people. A lot of, not even just like, when I say comics people, I'm talking about like mini comic people and alt comic people, and it's like a known factor. If you run like a scrappy little fucking publisher, Lily Wachowski might be following you. Like, go check.
No,
she's got taste. What can I say?
She's not following me.
Do you run a scrappy little publisher?
No.
There you go then. But yeah, it's fucking wild. It's fucking wild. This whole week's been very wild, and we're trying to keep the energy going, you know, because we don't want it to end here. You know, I intentionally had a ident put at the beginning of the short that says Iron Circus Animation, because I don't intend this to be a one-time thing. But animation is phenomenally expensive. And managing to pull off a 27-minute short for what that crowdfund made, keep in mind, for a year, it was the highest funded short film project in Kickstarter history. For the amount it made, was a miracle. Something that is $1 million show. That is $1 million show. What is currently up on YouTube? The Lackadaisy short. That is $1 million show. And
interfacing, suck my ass. I'm not doing any more interfacing.
What in the world are you talking
I'm reading the pattern to do the final bit of ruffle, and it wants me to do interfacing. I refuse.
What is interfacing?
If you want to stiffen up something you're sewing, give it more form, you can add this fusible interfacing, where basically you fuse it and sandwich it between fabric and fuse it using heat, or steam and heat. And it wants me to do that for this last round of ruffles. I refuse. I just don't want to.
How will you get them to look right if you won't do the interfacing?
I will iron them.
Okay. Okay, I don't know anything about sewing.
Exactly. So stay out of my lane,
That's
Spike.
why I'm asking. I don't know.
Get
I
up out of
don't
my
know.
lane. Make your own maid.
Out of my sewing lane, out of my maid uniform lane.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I'm
Yeah.
determined to wear this all weekend.
But yeah, I remember back in the day, I would have conversations with people who would tell me like completely earnestly they didn't get the point of conventions, like they didn't understand why people would go. And like now I
It's
have my story.
it's
I
to
have my
be
story.
hot where people can see me.
Well, that too. It's so Amanda can be smoking in public, which is an important thing to give to the community. But also, so, you can just have these random unplanned meetings, these alignments of the planets that just happen and kick off. And next thing you know, you've got an IMDb page. It's that's why you go to cons, because it's where you meet people. And while I would agree it's not as vital, it's not as indispensable convention attendance as it used to be. Like Scott McCloud used to say that if you missed two comic San Diego Comic Cons in a row once upon a time, people just assumed you were either dead or you didn't make comics anymore. Like that's how important it was for your professional profile
Which
to go
is
to
really
San Diego.
ridiculous considering that's not something and most people can do. Or even
Well,
back then, you just couldn't do that.
yeah, but back then, San Diego Comic-Con was something very, very different, you know?
It doesn't matter. There were still comic creators who couldn't go.
True, true. And that is partially why it's not necessarily a bad thing these days that that actual in-person conventions aren't as vital as they used to be. Yeah.
I feel like I always use conventions to reaffirm connections I've already made online
Mhm.
because, like, Fable approaching you, Fable already knew who you were, and you already knew
Yeah.
who Fable was,
Yeah.
correct?
I knew
So that was
what
just like
yeah.
reaffirming in person a thing.
Look, you're
Uh,
alive, you're a human.
yeah,
You're not
you,
an elaborate bot out of Cyprus.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, it's
there was a kid at Emerald City. I say they're a kid because I assume they were like 20 based on the question they were asking.
uh-huh.
Uh, and they were like, how do you get into anthologies?
Oh,
Like, how do you
bless.
find them and apply to them?
Oh
Like,
god. Oh, my heart. My heart.
because I gave them the pitch of like uh all the cautionary fable ones. And they did say that they already work in games and they just want to like
Have some funsies.
moon, yeah, moonlight in comics. So I assumed that they can draw. But I was like, well, basically a lot of it's online. Like there are Twitters that will post
Brr.
when submissions will be out for different
Yeah.
anthologies. I did tell them when the next Iron Circus anthology is going to take submissions.
Mhm.
Um, but like, yeah, I told them more than that. Really, it's just like trying to keep an eye out on Twitter for things.
Yeah. You have to it's like you kinda need to be aware of your surroundings. I think there is a sort of flaw in the approach of not a lot, but enough people that I notice it as semi-common, which is they kind of still function under this delusion that if they're just good enough, that'll be enough, and they'll be
and
approached, and they'll be
and I
folded under
assume
a
since
wing.
this person was already hired in games, they're
Yeah,
aware that that is not the case.
yeah,
Um,
but it is a thing that I
yeah.
see sometimes.
Like I felt like based on the tone of how they were asking, it seemed like they didn't know where to look.
Ah, yeah, that'll do it.
I think
And I feel like the decentralization of like social media has made it easy to connect to people without going to conventions, but the downside is there's now not obvious places for newbies to look
Mm,
on where to to get started or get their chops or whatever.
yeah. Which is kind of wild because I think that, and I say this like honestly, this is very sincere. I think that sort of like the people who are in their 20s right now, the level of talent is like devastating among them because they grew up with sort of access to the kind of art classes people our age could only like dream of when we were teenagers. You know, they could just go on DeviantArt or they could download a tutorial or they could go on YouTube and they could just watch someone walk them through how to use painting programs or how to paint in gouache or watercolor or what have you, or this is how you do anatomy, this is how you draw in perspective, this is how you use this program. Like, God, no. I remember literally crying in frustration in my early 20s trying to figure out parts of Photoshop because that shit was not out there. You had to just figure it out for
It
yourself.
was.
Well, I couldn't find any. Not the one
Spike
I
is
wanted.
older than us.
That's true. That's true. I
Yeah,
forget.
I
I
am
forget.
Spike's
significantly older.
old.
Yes, I
Because
am old.
I learned almost everything I learned from internet.
Yeah. And just
Yeah,
FYI, that don't mean shit to me, Kel. My 40s fucking rock.
I'm just saying, Amanda's childhood is not your childhood.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Amanda and I know the Pokemons. You don't know the Pokemons.
I don't know if that's so much an age
I don't
thing as
think
a
that's an
taste
age thing because I don't know the Digimons. But
Yeah.
everyone my age seems to know the Digimons.
And I watched Digimon in college, but I still don't really like go for Pokemon.
That's because Digimon had the better plot. But
You said that. You say that, but my only exposure had me scratching my head.
Well, it's one of those things where you had to watch the whole
the Digimon cartoon had a plot that wasn't just we will fight Team Rocket over and over again.
Hey, the anime sometimes had arcs.
Hey, they did things.
And they actually didn't do Team Rocket that often. I watched all of it. I'll fight you.
What I'm saying is Ash Ketchum is still 10 and still not the Pokemon champion.
He is now.
He is now.
No, he's a failure.
No, he is now. He
still hasn't caught them all.
Shit.
Whereas
I sewed
Digimon,
something backwards.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where Digimon, multiple children have already saved the digital world.
That doesn't mean I like them.
I'm just saying that there's a plot. That
has never affected my enjoyment of something. I sewed this backwards.
Time to get the ripper out. Get the seam ripper.
I don't want to. I'm tired.
You kind of gotta.
No.
One of my favorite things is one Van Calf several years ago. I described what Digimon looked like to various artists who had never seen it before. And had them draw what they thought the Digimon looked like.
God, like I know what Digimon look like, and I don't think I could draw them very well from memory.
I don't like them.
Well, no, these are people who have never seen them before, Spike.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They're just taking the descriptions I gave them and drawing what they think the Digimon look like.
I think I don't like Digimon because they're little people. If that makes sense.
What?
Yeah.
They're little people. They're not little like creatures. They're peoples.
They talk.
They do. They do. That's true. They have opinions.
Yeah, they have opinions.
But again, I have had very
opinions.
But then again, I've had very little exposure to Digimon, so I could have a different opinion had I more exposure.
No, the little dinosaur has opinions.
I know.
The little cat that wears gloves has opinions. They all have opinions.
One of my exes.
They all have opinions.
I do know one of my exes used to role play as that cat.
The little cat in gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like it. You wouldn't think it, but it was kind of like the goth character. It was like the mopey goth girl.
That makes sense.
No, she wasn't partnered with the mopey goth girl.
No, Spike said
cat.
She's like that show's equivalent. I think is what Spike said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She had like her tragic backstory.
Here's a secret, Spike. The cat in Japan is a boy.
Oh.
And then turns into Angelwoman, which is why in the English dub, the cat is a girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When I was in this Digimon started coming
That
on when I
explains
was
other
in.
things about those role plays.
Hmm. Digimon started like airing when I was like a senior in college, and at that point I had my own room, so I would
Oh,
actually, and I had like a TV and shit, and it was like nice to come home from class, and like
No.
spend a half hour watching a little stupid cartoon, and just like not have to worry about anything for an hour, half an hour. It
This is
was
gonna
like
take
my
forever. I
unwind
did
show.
such tiny stitches. I'm in hell.
You bring this
um,
upon yourself.
Yeah.
No one to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
I obviously I got a lot of Digimon opinions.
Clearly,
Yeah.
No way.
I honestly don't even know if I could like interact
Well,
with anyone's Digimon opinions at this point because it's been so long since I've seen an episode.
what was really funny, I remember one SPX. No, one Emerald City. Becky and Frank um had me and Tyson talk Digimon to see which of us knew more about Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was I knew more about the TV show, but Tyson knew more about the video games. So it's like while a lot of our while we both had the same amount of knowledge, there wasn't a ton of overlap because the games are like a whole other thing. Um,
Uh-huh.
and uh, according to Jaden Animations, incomprehensible.
Huh.
Because she tried to play a Digimon game and asked what Digimon game should I start with. Got like 5 different answers.
Right.
Well, aren't they not all
And
like related? Like, are they just different
they're
games?
all not related and they all have very different gameplay, but they're also all buggy as hell and janky as shit.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a pick your poison situation seemed to be the assessment of her video. Um,
Yeah, I've never actually played a Digimon game. I just watched the cartoon, so
I
I have
I
had
no idea of the
I
quality
don't
of
know
it.
why I just thought of this, but I had a great aunt who was convinced that Pokemon was plagiarizing something called Pocket Dragons that I had never heard of, and she was vehement about
Huh.
it. She would not shut up about it because when Pokemon was at its zenith, she would just this old lady would just get so fucking mad that something
That's
called Pocket Dragons was getting ripped off. I still don't know what that
that's
deal was with that.
interesting.
I don't think it's a
Hmm.
thing. I think she made it. I think it's
Oh,
she's
did I was about to
no,
say I'm
no,
sitting
no.
here
I
like trying
think
to
no, no,
think.
no. Like I think she is either misremembering it or it's something really old that is super
Wow.
not relevant.
Yeah, because it's like even who I have very minimal Pokemon interaction, even I know it like if you scratch the paint, it has its origins in like this really traditional
Oh yeah,
Japanese
no,
childhood
there was
experience of
no merit to these
yeah, of catching
grumblings.
what are those things, rhinoceros beetles and making them fight. So it's
or
like
not necessarily making the rhinoceros, bug catching in general is what he said.
mhm.
Uh,
But a lot of
but
little boys would make their rhinoceros beetles fight, which is a thing.
I think adults did that more often than kids.
Well, someone did it.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
if I remember right, but I don't remember a lot, and I'm seam ripping and crying,
I'm
so my
sorry.
attention is a little goofy.
I'm reading a thread on Twitter and I don't know if I'm being trolled or not, but it's being posted by a friend who doesn't really do that. So I'm thinking it's real.
Are they the direct? Are they the? Are they retweeting it or are they these their tweets?
Oh no, these are his tweets. This is by Ryan Estrada. You folks might know him. He is a good friend of Iron Circus.
He's been
Uh
on the show twice. You should know who he is.
yeah,
Anyway,
Yeah,
he's
get
been on
with
the
the
show twice.
program.
He co-wrote Banned Book Club, which is literally about his wife, and he also co-wrote the upcoming Occulted, which is about a woman escaping a cult by a woman who's not particularly interested in advertising. Hi, it's me who wrote this book about escaping a cult. So he co-wrote it and he's doing most of the promo for it. But yeah, I mean, I guess this must be real because it's referencing things that really happened. folks might remember, there used to be a Garfield themed restaurant.
The pop-up one?
No, the brick and mortar one. Like this guy named Nathan
Oh, I thought
bought the
that was
license.
only a
Eats?
I thought
Yeah,
that was
Garfield
only a
Eats.
I thought that was only a pop-up restaurant.
Oh no, it's a real deal brick and mortar one.
I didn't know it was
by
brick
this,
and mortar.
by this guy named Nathan, who it's very, this is all so strange. He bought the rights for a Garfield restaurant that had a pizza that was shaped like Garfield's head. And
I watched an Izzy video about this.
yeah, and he's just really weird because he did this. He put all this money into this and then made himself the center of the promotion. So it's like it's a big picture of him and then a little picture of Garfield in the corner. It's not like he is somebody. It's not like he had like a reality show or something. He's just some guy and he's all like, I'm going to feed you pizza and Garfield's here too. And then he lost the license because after Jim Davis sold Garfield lock, stock, and barrel to Nickelodeon was like, no, thank you. And like didn't renew the license. And then it gets weird because this dude, Nathan, is now self-funding an adult animated web series about a Garfield bootleg that kind of looks like him. And all it does is
All right, give me. Where's the link? Where's the link?
Oh, this is talk shit about how much it hates Garfield and isn't Garfield.
Oh my god! Is
so
this hate?
weird.
Is this hate porn? What is this?
I don't. There's the thread, and I think it's real. I mean, I don't think Ryan would sit here like he's got better things to do than to like put together a bunch of bullshit like this.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Nathfield?
Nathfield. His name is Nathan. And
It's
his
a bitch of a world, and Nathfield will purify it.
By the way, Amanda is reading a caption on one of the images. And it's just so...
I'm Nathfield, time to clean up this world.
Yeah.
It's like him as a Garfield in a suit.
Yes, but like skinny and no stripes.
Because, yeah, he's not Garfield.
He's just like, and he's like weirdly, disquietingly kind of almost flesh colored. It's so weird. Why?
Oh,
Why would you do this, Nathfield?
Why not?
But yeah, I guess
Garfield, look, Garfield dumped him. And he will never get over that relationship.
I remember just sort of hearing about this, like it was beyond the edge of my vision. Like I heard somebody made a Garfield restaurant and it serves pizza.
Yeah, if you want, there's a Izzy video that's pretty good.
Yeah, I made a like a whole thing, like, or rather, I remember thinking, not lasagna. Like that seemed pretty.
No, it was like American. Well,
yeah,
it did pizza, but ooh.
It was one of those things where it's like you think that would be kind of.
I think if I remember right, all the food was upsettingly orange.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what.
Like even a pizza, which pizzas can get away with being kind of orangey, but apparently even the pizza was like, it shouldn't be that orange. What have you done to it?
I have to look that up now to make sure I'm not being lied to.
That always makes me think of the reviews of Guy Fieri's S'mores Pizza, all being like,